Merry Christmas, my crafty friends! I have a special treat for you today. I'm going to make 2 Christmas ornaments using the most gorgeous clay molds you've ever seen. The mold is made by Zuri, and I think you'll find the detail in this mold as amazing as I do. I'll do a beautiful crackle finish and hang beads, a beautiful tassel, along with a couple of spectacular bows. So if you're ready, let's make a mess. Just look at the detail in this mold. It is absolutely incredible. Once I received this mold, I was so excited to use it for a project. And this is what I came up with. I hope you enjoy this video. I'm dusting the mold with cornstarch so the clay is easy to release. I'm adding some air dry clay and using a roller to make sure the clay gets deep into the mold and all the little cavities. I want to make sure it shows off all those little details. I cut away all the excess clay with my palette knife and remove the clay from the mold. This mold is excellent quality, so the clay releases very easily. You'll be able to find this mold and other non-Christmas molds just like it at decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll tell you all about them in just a little bit. I'm gluing the clay to the clear plastic blank ornament while it's still wet. I wiped off any glue that seeped out from underneath the clay and any buildup in any corners. This mold is rather large, so I used 5-inch ornament blanks. Now I'll let it dry on the ornament overnight. Now it's time to glue the fronts and backs together. I accidentally used my wood glue instead of white glue, so that's why you're seeing some brown on the underside. Everything is getting painted white, so it'll never be seen. And I'll let that dry for a couple hours. Because the ornament is shiny, I gave it a quick sanding with a fine grit sandpaper so the paint would stick. I paid close attention to the seam in case there was any glue residue. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments. It's fun to see what cities and countries you are all watching from. I'm filming from Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. Now I'm painting the entire thing white, front, back, and the molded clay areas. And I'll let that dry for about an hour. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. The next step is to seal the molded clay areas. I'm going to be antiquing these beauties, and it needs to be sealed so the antique will wipe off the surface and only stay in the cracks and crevices. I'm using a solvent-based glossy sealer, and I'll let that dry for about an hour before moving on. I'm going to give these ornaments a very interesting crackle finish. I'm using Pentart's fine line crackle varnish on the areas around the molded clay and on the front and back of the ornaments. It's a 2-part system, and I'm brushing on component number 1. I'll let that dry for about an hour or so until it's clear. I put the crackle varnish on the front around the molded clay and on the back of the ornament, but I had to do it in stages. I did the front first and let it dry before I could do the back. Once dry, I'll brush on component number 2. This step is an amber color. Use thin, even strokes. If you get a buildup or drips anywhere, it'll show when dry. I'll let this dry for a couple of hours. Once dry, you'll see the cracks. You can use a heat gun or blow dryer for just a couple of minutes to make more and deeper cracks. I did this step in stages as well, doing the front first, letting it dry, and then doing the back. After using fine line crackle varnish, you cannot use any water-based products. It will ruin your crackle finish. You can only use solvent-based antiques and sealers. Everything is dry and it's time to antique. I'm going to use oil paint as my antiquing medium. Oil paint is solvent-based, quite reasonable in price, and comes in a lot of colors, so you can get some very interesting finishes. I'm going to antique one of the ornaments in red and the other one in green. I'm starting with the red and brushing the red oil paint all over, making sure to get it in all the cracks and crevices. Once I have it completely covered, I'll start wiping it off with a soft cloth. I'm making sure to rub it into all the cracks where the crackle finish is as well. Doesn't that look so cool? Now I'll do exactly the same thing with the other ornament, but I'm using green oil paint. Oil paint takes longer to dry than acrylic paint, so these will need to dry 24 to 48 hours. After they dried, I gave the entire ornament a coat of solvent-based gloss sealer. I used a spray because I didn't want to take the chance of smearing any of the oil paint. I sprayed both sides of both ornaments and then hung them to dry for a couple of hours in my garage. I'm going to highlight all the raised areas using a white pearl metallic wax rub. This wax rub is the nicest I've ever used. It's soft and creamy and very easy to work with. It's going to give the molded areas an iridescent pearl glow. This amazing product is also available at decoupagenapkins.com. Decoupagenapkins.com has such a great selection of rice papers as well as napkins that you can purchase one at a time. Rub-on transfers, molds, modeling clay, stencils, stamps, scrapbook paper, and much more. Over 6,500 products. And carry 3 new lines of paint: Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Paint, Clay Mud Paint, as well as Pentart in a wide range of colors. They are wonderful to work with and send out their orders fast. They offer several automatic discounts when checking out on orders over $50, $75, and $125. Subscribe to the newsletter by entering your email address and you'll receive 10% off your next order. Make sure you check them out. I'll leave you a link in my description box below. I'm adding some beautiful silver and white trim that I found at Hobby Lobby along the seam where the front and back connect. Before I cut trim, I put a little hot glue where I'm going to make my cut. It'll stop the trim from unraveling. All the products and tools I use and recommend in my videos have been tested by me. I won't suggest something that I haven't used myself. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. I'm putting a small silver cord through the center of my bodabra to use as a tie. Then I'm layering white satin and red velvet ribbon. Then I'll pull up on the center silver cord and tie it together in the back. And of course, a little bling. If you knew I was going to do that, you know me well. This one is for the top front, and I made a second one for the back of the ornament. I'm making 2 more smaller bows for the bottom of the ornament. I'm using the red velvet and some sheer organza ribbon. I did the same thing with the silver cord through the middle. And more bling. I'm making the bottom embellishment by stringing 2 silver beads and a really large pearl. I went up through one of the bows, then back down through the beads again. I glued the string at the top inside the bow and again on the bottom bead. I tried to sew through this tassel, but the center was so dense and hard I couldn't do it. So it's getting glued to the bottom of the beads. Then I glued the 2 bottom bows together. I used some of the small organza ribbon for a hanger, then glued the top bows to the front and back, then attached the bottom piece that I made. Now I'm going to make the bows for the green ornament. I did all the exact same things, but I used some glittered organza ribbon and some beautiful teal green sheer organza. Which one of these is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about these Zuri molds. Spectacular, aren't they? This mini bow dabber tool works really good. It makes bow making so easy. I'll link it below in my description box in case you'd like to check it out. And now, the final piece of bling. I put together a playlist of some other tutorials you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that playlist. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner so you don't miss any future videos.